Okay, this is your computer. What you want to do is launch the Silhouette Studio. And if you remember, it's the big blue S right there. My toolbar is on the side, and I know on your laptop, I think your toolbar is on the bottom down here. So if you put your mouse down there, you'll find the Silhouette, the big S right there, and go ahead and launch the application. I had something here earlier that I was printing. Let me erase that. Okay. And if you also remember, this book right here is your library. So I'm going to click on the library. These are shapes that we've purchased. These are recent downloads right here. And if you don't see everything that you've bought, click on my library, and there's much, much more. But the ones that are in the recent downloads are the ones that we've recently purchased together. So these are some great shapes. Let's do this heart. Well, let's do something easy and fast. So I'm going to take this heart, click on that, and I'm going to double click it, and that'll bring me back into my design screen. Now, if you remember that my fabric is not completely covering the entire section. I am covering almost all of it. One column is empty here, and I've got 3 columns empty down here. So as I'm designing, back to here, I want to make sure that I don't have anything in this one column. These grids correspond with the mat grids. Do you see the lines? That corresponds directly with the grids. If you don't see these grid lines, all you have to do is on the upper, move camera, upper right hand side of the screen, you'll see this, the very last button right here. Click that. And that will give you an option that says right here, show grid. This also said snap to grid. I don't like using that. I like to have a little more control over that. So leave that unchecked and click on show grid. Your spacing should be 1 inch apart, and these both numbers should be 1. So that's easy to remember. Okay, I'm going to close that screen because we have the grid that we want. Move it back over. Okay, so these are my hearts, and like I said, I don't want to have anything below where I don't have any fabric. So I am just going to move this up a bit. And if you remember from another lesson that I did on the video, if I only want a couple of these hearts, I have to ungroup them. So I make sure I click on this. Whoops, I unclicked it. I'm going to click on that. Do you see that square with the green button right there? Well, that means it's selected. So I select it, and I'm going to click on Object. Let me see if I need to move this up a bit so you can see everything. Okay. Ah. Okay. So Object and rotate. No, what am I doing? I forgot what. Oh, ungroup. Ungroup right here. I'm going to ungroup that. Now, if you see, it looks a little slightly different. I've got many different types of squares going on here. I can take one, and let's say that I like that one. You know what I don't like is this one. So I'm going to select that, make sure it's boxed around, and I'm just going to click on delete. That deletes everything. And let's say I don't want this one either. Click delete. Remember that every line that's red is a cut line. I can move these around now that they're ungrouped. And so that should fit because I've got, do you remember my fabric? I have no fabric on this one column, let's say 1.5 columns, and I have no fabric on these 3 columns. So I don't want to have any design elements there. So let's just say that I also want to resize something. Let's take this one. I'm going to click on it, select it. I am going to resize it, drag it by, I can make it fatter by dragging this. Fat, or I can make it skinny, or I can make it super long. It's up to you. And if I drag the diagonal corner, it's proportional. So we'll resize that. Okay, I'm pretty much ready to cut. So what I'm going to do is, let me get a little bit closer so you can see everything. Okay, and I hope I've got a good focus. Okay, I'm ready to send it to the Silhouette. This button right here, there's two printer buttons. One is on the left. This is send to printer. The other one is send to Silhouette. I want to make sure that I'm sending it to the Silhouette and not my regular printer, because I don't want a printout of these hearts. I want Silhouette machine to cut these hearts out. So plus I don't have another printer connected to this machine. So I'm going to click on this button. It has a little red A on there. They're a little different. Click on that, send to Silhouette. Okay, now I've got my Silhouette, send to Silhouette screen. And gosh, I hate doing this, but I want to make sure that you can see everything. Okay. Number 1, set Silhouette rollers to 13-inch. Well, we kind of did all this. My Silhouette machine doesn't really, I'm always using it at the 13-inch mark, so the rollers kind of just stay there. Number 2, place the page on the cutting mat as shown. And we did already. Do you see right here? This is your rollers. This is a roller, and they want you to position the roller just like this, and it should be like that already anyways, and your cutting mat like this. And you've got that. Okay, the next one is set Silhouette dialog display to load cutting mat. We've done that already. We've already loaded the cutting mat. Okay, curtain settings. Media is fabric, speed is 3, thickness is 33. I'm going to change the setting because I also have freezer paper. This is sort of a trial and error thing. This is fabric, it says thick fabric like canvas, and this is fabric that says thin fabrics like cotton prints. Even though I have a cotton print in there, it's thin, I also have freezer paper, so it's a little bit more thick. So I'm going to go with fabric, thick fabric like canvas, and hopefully that will be it. Now what you can also do is make a test cut right here. So why don't we go ahead and do that. We're going to click test cut. And it's going. Oh, it cut it already. That was so fast. This is a tiny, tiny cut. Okay, to get this out, you don't want to just pull this because it's in the machine. Click enter for unload. The screen says E for unload, so click unload. Now, what I want to tell you about the test cut is it's going to be hard to do a test cut on this because I have freezer paper and I have fabric. So if you had paper in there, it's much easier to do a test cut. With fabric and with freezer paper, it's much harder. So you can do it. It didn't work on mine because I had the freezer paper on top.